We want to bring in Tim Clemente now, former FBI counterterrorism agent, and you know, during last night's attack, jihadi terrorists storming a British bar, they went door to door, and you know what, folks fought back. They were throwing beers and pint glasses at people, and people had to fight back and call attention to this. Police responded.
Yeah, that's this video you're seeing right there. I don't know if we've brought it to the attention of our viewers yet. That is a bar just outside that market. Police are storming in because the stabbers had gone inside. The attackers had gone inside, stabbing bar patrons, and the police calling everyone to the ground because you got to separate who the enemy is from who the innocent civilians are. Walk us through this, if you would, Tim Clemente. The police actions in this video, and then generally
you also see people fighting back. You see patrons trying to help people, right? Stepping into action at a time when it couldn't be more scary.
Absolutely, it's got to be terrifying, but at the same point, the first instinct almost any human being has is self-preservation. And so it's good to see people finally stepping up and not realizing they have to be victimized in this circumstance. We've had so many stabbings, I can't even think of how many dozens have taken place, both in the UK and in other countries within Europe and other places around the world. In Israel, we see it. And anything you can use as a weapon, you have to use as a weapon.
So what should you do if you are a civilian and you're sitting in this restaurant? Because we see this happen so often today, where you have a terrorist who just walk into a restaurant late at night and just start stabbing or hurting, killing innocent people. If you're there watching this happen, what do you do? Is there anything you can do to help?
You have to intercede. Everyone has to intercede in some way. If you can get away, get away, but if you can't get away, you have to fight. And that goes for not only if they have a knife, but if they have a gun, whatever weapon they might have. If they have a vehicle, obviously the only safe space is away from the path of that vehicle. Anything else that they use as a weapon, you can defend yourself.
Before that even happens, you say there's no way to stop people from driving. There's no way to stop people from owning knives, as you say, but there is a way to expel people and identifying these terror cells. How do we expel these people?
There's two ways. One is through intelligence, and the other is through the legislative process. We have to change our laws. We cannot allow for, as the Prime Minister said, for there to be any safe spaces. And we also have to prosecute those who not only are accomplices to these acts, but who know about them and do not stop them. And I'm talking about the parents of the San Bernardino shooter. I'm talking about anyone who is knowledgeable about the fact that a person is radicalized and has these intentions to commit violence. If you know that and you do not stop it, if you do not alert authorities and do everything you can to prevent an act of terror, you are now a part of that act of terror.
So we had President Trump tweeting last night saying, to that point, we have got to be vigilant. He even pointed back to this travel ban that he's hoping he can get through. And Secretary Kelly also said the biggest threat that we still face is aviation. So when we talk about travel ban and the things that we can do to make us safer, is that something that will really help?
Absolutely, because that's part of the intelligence network. The travel ban is merely a vetting process to slow down and limit the people coming in from countries where we see this type of terror become the norm. And it's just saying, wait a minute, before 100 of you come in, I want to make sure all 100 of you should come into this country. And when we're talking about third world countries, if somebody's coming from Syria, from a war zone in Iraq or Syria, or from areas of Pakistan where you see vast amounts of radicalization, it's merely saying that the vetting process as it is now is not substantial enough.
Tim, you're talking about a shift from a law enforcement action. The West has tried to fight this threat through law enforcement, police action.
Which is reactive.
Which is reactive. Our opponents are fighting a war. What's the biggest shift that can be made inside London to the police forces to be proactive, go on the offensive as opposed to
proactive?
Defensive?
Is, I believe somebody mentioned it early, it's an intelligence aspect of looking at things, which is counterinsurgency, is fighting at an intelligence level. You know, warfare is saying that's an enemy encampment over there, we destroy that encampment, we win this battle. Well, in this war, this is a global war, it's a global threat that's based on an ideology that's immutable, can go anywhere, it's invisible, and it's only visible to those closest to the people that are doing it, and that's intelligence. That's digging down on a street level to get the intelligence in every neighborhood, everywhere in America, everywhere in the Western world, to know who's thinking like this and who has intentions to do violence like this.
Tim Clemente is a former FBI counterterrorism agent. We appreciate you joining us this morning. Thank you so much, Tim.